reveal the moon's true nature. This is what they found. Our first close encounter with Titan came in the year 1979, when NASA sent a robotic spacecraft named Pioneer 11 to visit the planet Saturn for the first time and investigate the rings and moons that surround the gas giant. We've known about the existence of Titan for centuries. It was officially discovered in 1655 by the Dutch astronomer Christian Huygens. It's not hard to spot either, as you can probably tell by the name. Titan is big. It's actually a bit larger than the planet Mercury, and it's 50% wider than our own moon, but it's still incredibly far away. So when Pioneer 11 first encountered Titan, scientists were eager to find out what it actually looked like. But all that the probe was really able to see were the dense orange clouds that surrounded the moon. It was impenetrable. What Pioneer was able to do was investigate what that haze was made of, and it found something very intriguing: a thick atmosphere that was rich in nitrogen. This is very similar to what we have on Earth. The majority of our own atmosphere is also nitrogen. Now, there was another familiar discovery made on Titan, and this is what really piqued the curiosity of scientists: hydrocarbons. What are those? Well, the technical answer is that they are carbon atoms bonded to hydrogen atoms. Most of us use hydrocarbons almost every day in the form of a combustible fuel like gasoline or propane. On Titan, the atmosphere is filled with methane, which we generally know as natural gas. Now, why is this important to NASA scientists? Well, a more practical explanation would be that in addition to being useful as fuel, these carbon-based structures are also known as the building blocks of life. Important molecules like DNA and protein are all built on hydrocarbon foundations. Here's a more familiar word for you: carbohydrates. Sounds pretty much the same, and it is, but carbohydrates bring oxygen to the party. So if we can find oxygen on Titan, then we've got more than just the building blocks of life. We've also got the food to fuel that life. And just so you know right now, there is oxygen on Titan, but we're going to need to go a lot deeper to find it, so stick with me. Flying a probe close by Titan was also able to give us a sense of the moon's gravity. And this is a bit strange because Titan has a lot less of it than you'd expect. For being so much bigger than our own moon, the force of gravity on Titan is actually a little bit weaker, meaning Titan isn't very dense, meaning it can't be made entirely of rock. And that opens up some interesting possibilities. The combination of a thick atmosphere and weak gravity means that a person in a wingsuit could essentially jump off a cliff and fly like a bird for as long as they want. It also makes a flying machine a perfect vehicle for exploring the surface. Writing clearly is hard, whether you're explaining rocket engines, sending an important email, or just trying to make your ideas come across the way you want. You write a line, read it back, and something just feels off. That is where Quillbot's Chrome extension comes in. With one click, it can rephrase your sentence to sound smoother while keeping the same meaning. I find it particularly useful when sending emails. So, say you're drafting an email to your boss or a client and you want to sound more professional. Highlight the sentence, hit Quillbot, and instantly see polished alternatives. Or maybe you're writing a school paper, a LinkedIn post, or even a cover letter. Either way, Quillbot helps you get your point across with clarity and confidence. The extension works right inside your browser, so you don't have to jump between apps or websites. Anywhere you're typing, Gmail, Google Docs, social media, Quillbot is right there to help. And if you want to try it out, check the link in the description to install the Quillbot Chrome extension for free. Once you start using it, you'll see how much easier it makes your writing, whether you're working on something technical, professional, or just day-to-day communication. So this is what NASA found back in the 70s. A lot of very Earth-like ingredients hiding deep in the outer solar system. They knew that beneath the clouds of Titan could be a discovery that would change everything we know about life and the universe. It was so close, yet so far away. They would have to wait for technology to catch up. And 25 years later, in 2004, the Cassini spacecraft would finally arrive at Saturn to pick up where Pioneer 11 had left off. This was a joint project between NASA, the European Space Agency, and the Italian Space Agency. Cassini is equipped with the necessary radar and infrared scanners to see through the dense atmosphere of both Saturn and Titan. Over the course of its 13-year mission, the spacecraft would fly past Titan 127 times, using its instruments to cut through the haze and investigate down to the surface. What it found was mind-blowing. Titan is the only moon in the solar system with an atmosphere, and this is a thick atmosphere, 4 times the density of Earth's. So what that does is it actually creates a reverse greenhouse effect, blocking out what little heat from the sun can actually reach this far. So as we move deeper towards the surface, all of the methane gas in the air gets colder and colder until it liquefies and falls like raindrops onto a surface of ice that is frozen as hard as granite rock. The average surface temperature on Titan is negative 179 degrees Celsius, and the freezing point of methane is negative 182. So it is the perfect environment to support a full hydrological cycle of evaporation and condensation, except with rocket fuel instead of water. The result is flowing rivers, lakes, and seas across the surface of Titan, making it the only known world aside from the Earth that has a stable liquid on its surface. Now, the people who built Cassini were very smart. They knew that Titan was going to reveal something incredible, so the European Space Agency included a secondary probe, the Huygens lander, named after the Dutch astronomer who first discovered the moon. And it was designed to parachute down to the surface and take photographs of Titan along the way. In January 2005, Huygens began its descent. Based on images taken by Cassini, the target landing site was believed to be the shoreline of a small lake. The probe had been designed to survive landing on a variety of terrain, from mountain ranges to flat plains and even a liquid ocean. It had enough battery life to operate for 3 hours, with 2.5 of those hours being spent slowly parachuting down to the surface. And when Huygens finally broke through the